going to show you how to attach your flowers now. And I did realize that this big sorbet color should be bent backwards a little bit more. And what Leo did, I looked at the video again because it wasn't quite looking right to me. You have to sort of crease it almost in the middle. And so that it's still a little cup-like, but this back part goes backwards. And it does easily get creases in it. When you put it all together, it'll look fine. So I want to curve the sides in and the top back. Okay, we're going to start with the littlest piece here. And we're going to take a little bit of tacky glue or white glue, whatever you like working with. Put just a dot on the bottom where it's pointed. Oh, that's a big dot, so we'll take some away. Wipe it on my Kleenex there. We're going to place the pea you made right near the bottom of the circle and just squeeze and hold that for a little bit so that the pea is at the top or at the bottom of the flower, at the top of those pointed parts. The second piece, and if you want you can retrain them as you go, or you can just retrain them later. Once it's dry and the glue is solid, it's very easy to adjust your shape a little bit. So this is pointed in. Again, you're going to put a dab of glue on the bottom. Won't put it as thick this time. And position that yellow there and squeeze. Hold it for a bit. Let that glue set. I tend to put too much glue on these, and so the setting glue can sometimes be a little hard. And the last bit, put a little on the sorbet piece. Just in the bottom there. And you have a crease where we folded that piece a little bit. Again, we can shape it after it's dried. It's almost easier to shape it after it's dried. But if we have the tendencies of it, that'll be good. I think I play with them too much sometimes. Okay, so now we have 3 pieces with your little pea right in the middle. There we go. And I'm going to put some of the tape on there. It doesn't have to be a long piece. We're going to wrap where we just glued. And remember, it gets sticky as you stretch it, but I'm wrapping right where the bottom, and then I'm going down the stem a little bit. You can make it look pretty later. You can either tear it off, or I'm just wrapping down the stem at the same time. Now you put your little calyx on. Now remember, it had some score places we've already folded, and this flat part that doesn't have a leaf, I'm going to put a little glue on it. And you're going to fold it to the inside. You actually can lay it flat to fold it. It's secured well. And then you can poke it out. Now, this can also be trained backwards a little. Give it a little shape. And there's now a hole. So you can, this one first, you can thread it. Oh, I didn't train this one, just a second. Curve back your leaves. And thread it up. And we're going to be putting more tape on this, so you don't even have to add any glue if you don't want. Do this again, just threading it up the wire to the top. And now I'm going to add, this one's a little bit fat, maybe that wire is not as fat. Now I'm going to add one of my leaves. So I'm going to put just a tab of glue on the bottom of the leaf. And I think I should have added a little glue here because this one's a little fat. Oh, I know why. I forgot. Now I know why it's fat. I forgot to put the tape on. I want to put, before I put that on, I want to put some of this tape, floral tape, around the head. I think I did it on one and not the other, or I did the wrong one, I'm not sure which. Okay, so I'm wrapping it around. That makes it thicker, and then the calyx fits. Okay, you always can learn by my mistakes, ladies. Okay, now let's slide it up, see what happens. Ah, better fit. Okay, so for the leaf, I'm just going to put one leaf on this one. I'm putting it on my left side because the last one I did on the right. And you could train your leaf backwards a little. And again, take a piece of your floral tape, and where the leaf is got that stem there, that's where you start wrapping. And after you wrap, you can just keep wrapping right down your stem. Now, I can see the glue on my hands. I really find the waxy glue a little irritating. Those craft projects, I really don't mind the process, but I think I'm like my grandchildren. I don't like a lot of sticky on me. Okay, so this one has one leaf. This one has one leaf. The leaves ended up on the same side. We'll make that two leaves. Let's do this one on the other side. I want to, because I have three flowers. I want a leaf on the right, a leaf on the left, and the second one I think I'll put two leaves. So put a dab of glue on the bottom of the leaf. I want it to stay on that side this time. Stretch my tape. If you're a little more patient than me, you can let that glue set longer. Having trouble with the flower shifting positions. I want it to stay on the left. So I think I wasn't patient enough to let that glue set. I want to make that leaf straight. I'm actually wrapping it around tight there before I make it smooth. And then just twisting my stem to get rid of the rest of it. Okay, so now going back, let's go to the center one. Let's go to this one. Let's add another leaf a little bit lower. Again, one little tab of glue. My fingers are so sticky, I feel like I don't need glue. It's going to curve back a little. I'm just going to hold it for a minute. Okay, that looked good, I think. So I'm placing it. My fingers are actually so sticky that the paper is sticking to my fingers. And just hold it for a minute and be patient. This is going to be, you're going to have 3 flowers on your box, and this is going to be the middle one. It has a little more room. Okay. Tearing a piece of the tape, remembering the glue comes out when you stretch it. And wrapping it around. See how the flower moves? So you really have to hold it in the position you want it to be, because I didn't let it glue long enough, or didn't let it adhere. I think the tacky glue has a little bit of tendency of slipping on the glue of the stems. But now I think I like it, so we're good. Okay, I now have 3 stems. So if you don't have 3 flowers, you can stop the tape and do it. Remember, I'm going to do an overhead view of all of this too for the workshop. I just wanted to show you the pieces in case you wanted the pieces made. So the flowers, let's see if I can position this a little bit. The flowers are slanted to the right and left, and then you have the center one in the middle. But if you notice, there's some tendrils on there, and I'm going to talk about tendrils. And we'll put these over to dry well before we play with them. In your kit, you got 3 pieces of wire. And I think I made the mistake of giving you all the same caliber, which happens to be 18. So 18 is a little thicker, and we're adding so much. They actually asked for 14, so it's fairly thick. And what I should have done is given you some skinnier wire. And this right here is 24 gauge. So I purchased my wire on Amazon, and it comes about 50 per pack, and it comes in different gauges. And so if you ended up with 3 18 gauge, the smaller the number, the thicker the wire, your tendrils might be a little thick or a little hard to turn, but I did it to show you that it can be done. I have trouble with the first turn, but I actually think the thinner wire makes a better tendril. And so I will use the one I gave you. And again, some people's packages might be different. I don't make all the packages in the same time. But to make a tendril, I take a dowel or a pencil. Doesn't matter how thick your wire is, but if your wire is thicker, the first turn is hard. So I put my thumb and hold the wire, and then I start wrapping. Slide it down the dowel and keep going. Now you can use, if you have wire at home and you want to use your floral tape on it, you can use a smaller gauge wire. That works. This one happens to have a covering on it. So there is my tendril. And I can just slide it off. Decide how long I want it and snip it. If you're using the thicker, I'm going to show you what happens. You might be stronger than me, but I had trouble holding it to begin with. So what I did was I just held it any way I could. A vise would have even helped. That's how thick it is. I just start. Once it starts, it's not as hard. So I wrap it, and I almost make it in the shape I want. Then I have to take, let's see, a flat nose plier and get this part so it's not pointed out. So I sort of wrap it a little bit more. So the tendril with a thicker wire will be okay. It's just, that's a thinner one. It's just harder to wrap. You're also, the pieces might not have as many wraps. So you can decide where you want these and how you want to do it. But the easiest way is to have a little bit of straight part and then just adhere it with your tape again. This floral tape will put anything on a flower. And it's pointing the wrong direction, but you can position this wire so easy. I'll show you. That once you get the flower positioned, you can just point the tendril where you want it. So put one on the other side for this. Now in this case, I actually want to straighten it out. So I have a flat piece to adhere. Tear a piece of your tape, wrap it around. So some of these motions are not our typical scrapbooking motions, and the little awkward, you can see how awkward my hands work here. But you'll figure it out. Just wrap away. And the nice part is it's very easily changed once you get going. Okay. So this is my middle flower. And I have 2 tendrils. So I'm going to not sure if I'm going to add another tendril. You can even add tendrils later. I want to show you what to do with the flowers now. And I'll be honest, the best way to look at this is probably the next video, because it'll be much easier from an above camera. So if you have tabs like I do we can trim those off. But I'm just making a curve to the right of one flower, the curve to the left of another flower, and a straight in the middle. Now the box is 5.5 inches. So tall. And I want these to be smaller than the box. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to aim my first 2 about 4.5 before the curve. And I'm clipping the wire and taking pliers to the end, pinching and turning it in, just like that. Then this one, I want to make about 4.5 inches again at the curve. So I'm measuring it here on my Versa mark. I'm cutting off the excess, taking a plier and curving that in a little. One reason, you don't want any blunt ends sticking out, and the little curve looks sort of cute. And the front one, I want a little taller. Gee, this has to be the middle because it is taller. Let's do that. All right, back to 4.5 inches. So this can be as decorative or as plain as you want. Doesn't have to be curved in, but I find the little curve look cute. So just pinching the end and turning it in. Now I'm going to take floral tape again actually almost making this like a U. So I'm going to hold the 3 of these together, and I'm going to attach them. And I find this is the most awkward one. So I'm laying the tape down, and we can change the shape after. Now I'm taking the floral tape and just wrapping the 3 of these together. Like that. I like this better than my original. So the ends of the floral tape you can cut off or just keep wrapping. You're going to have your bow positioned here, so it'll cover any mess we make with these, adhering them together. Okay. Now I have 3 flowers, and I can see how an extra tendril there would look nice. So you can actually just poke it in a little bit or wrap the tendril around. I like things in 3s. I think I'm just going to wrap it there, and when I put my flower, it'll look nice. This one, I'm going to bring it back to this side. So I'll have a tendril in the middle and a tendril on each side. And there is our flower arrangement. Okay, I did these slow videos so that you could work with me on this part if you wanted to, or work ahead. The bow is easy. I'm just going to use a twist tie to make the bow. I find this is the hardest part. So making the flowers and learning how to work with the wire. I am not at all an expert at this. I think the result looks fine without being perfectionist. And I think I'd like it to be a little more perfect for me, but that's okay. But there's my flowers. They're all ready for my box. And I will show you on the overhead video how to make your bow. That's all for now.